Welcome to the Age is Irrelevant podcast with your host, Helen Fritsch. Helen is a 60-plus, lifelong competitive athlete, flight attendant, published fitness model, writer, IFBB Bodybuilding Pro, and certified wine specialist who believes that your age is irrelevant to pursue goals, dreams, and desires. Are you a woman in her 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond who still has a burning desire to pursue a dream or a passion? Are you thinking about starting a new chapter in your life, but you're hesitant, thinking that you might be too old or just don't know where to begin? The Age is Irrelevant podcast is a podcast devoted to women who want to defy the odds, smash barriers, and redefine happiness and success after 40. It's time to make a difference. There is no need to dread blowing out that added birthday candle every year. A new movement is slowly taking momentum, where being over the hill just isn't relevant anymore. Age labels are being thrown out the window, and women are rediscovering the strength within themselves to make a difference, not only within their own lives, but also touching and inspiring the lives of other women. Join Helen as she and her guests discuss all aspects of aging after 40 and how to make the aging process and those twilight years more rewarding, exciting, and fun.
Hello and welcome to the Age is Irrelevant podcast. I'm your host, Helen Fritsch, and this is episode number 115. Now, before we dive into today's conversation, I just want to share that my newest book, Life Lessons from the Overhead Bin, is calling for you. It's a heartfelt collection of wisdom gathered from my 40 years of flying around the world as a flight attendant, lessons on resilience, humor, human connection, and never giving up your dreams no matter your age or circumstances. If you're ready to be inspired at 30, 50, 70, or beyond, this book is for you. And you can find it on Amazon. Now today, I want you to meet 54-year-old Sharla Peterson. She's an athlete, IFBB Bodybuilding Pro, and the definition of unbreakable. After a freak accident at the gym left her paralyzed from the waist down, Sharla refused to let the wheelchair define her future. She returned to the gym, took to the stage in wheelchair bodybuilding, won a national show, and earned her IFBB Pro card. Her story is raw, inspiring, and a masterclass in resilience. You're going to be deeply moved and incredibly motivated by this conversation. And here we go. Hi, Sharla. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Helen. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so happy for you to be here. So for my listeners, my guest today is the definition of resilience, grit, and unstoppable spirit. Sharla Peterson is an avid 54-year-old athlete and weightlifter whose life changed in an instant after a freak accident that left her paralyzed from the waist down. But rather than letting that moment define or limit her, Sharla chose to redefine what strength truly means. From the wheelchair to the bodybuilding stage, Sharla went on to compete in wheelchair bodybuilding and ultimately earning the prized IFBB Pro card, a monumental achievement now that we both have that proves setbacks just don't get the final say. Her journey is not just about physical strength, but mental toughness, self-belief, and refusing to let circumstances dictate destiny. So once again, Sharla, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much.
So where I normally like to start is like in the very beginning, because I'm always interested in my guests and their background. So if you want to tell us a little bit about where you were born and your childhood growing up, and if you were athletic when you were a child.
I was born in Omaha, Nebraska, and I was the youngest of 7 kids. I was, I think, pretty active from the very beginning. I, remember just always trying to entertain everybody by dancing around or, doing something. I was very active, and my mom was a piano teacher, and I thought, there is no way I'm going to sit down for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and try to learn the piano. I was always outside riding my bike, or I was hitting a tennis ball against the house or whatever. I was just active and loved to be outside. And I was always seeking running. I loved, in elementary school, I loved the track and field. And I got into what's it called? Well, I continued track and field in junior high, but then I started seeking like aerobics. I found, aerobics on TV, and I would do it on TV, and I would watch what show was it that Corey Everson was on? Um, I think it was like ESPN, some kind of ESPN channel. But I would watch that and the bodybuilding, and I just really got hooked into that. I really wanted to do that. And so I became an aerobics instructor at the
Oh,
age of
wow.
16. And I had a mentor who just took me under her wing, and she just showed me how to do it. And she brought me into her aerobics instructors at a local gym. And I got a free membership. And so I would ride my bike to the gym, and then I would teach aerobics, and then I would swim in their pool, and then I would work,
Mm.
on their weights. And I just got right into the fitness scene at 16. I just loved it. I just loved doing biking and cardio and swimming and aerobics and weight training. So I got into that, and I continued teaching in high s- or in when I went to college. I continued to teach aerobics, and that was my income. I would, make 25 bucks an hour, and I got free membership at the gym. So I continued doing that in college. And then I heard about the Reebok National Aerobic Championships, and I got really excited. And I had a friend of mine that was also teaching aerobics, and we wanted to do like the couples. It was like they had a couples.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he and I started working at doing the couples routine, but he got really flaky, and so I decided to do it on my own. And so I did my first competition at 19. I did my Reebok National aerobics
Wow.
competition, and I didn't do great, but at least they were very impressed that I showed up at 19, and I didn't have a coach, and I didn't like I didn't even know what I was doing. I just showed up and had practiced this routine. But after that, I finished my college degree as an occupational therapist, and I met my husband. He was going to dental school in Omaha, Nebraska, and I had gone to occupational therapy school in California at USC. And so I was back home, and we met, and then, started our family. We got married and started our family. And I kind of put like the stage aside. Like, I continued to work out. We would go to the gym together, ride bikes together, and continued that even with kids, the struggle of getting them to the gym, the daycare, so you can work out. So,
Right.
it wasn't like I was able to really go all out on anything, but I was able to continue to enjoy my workouts and things. Um, and so it wasn't until I got to my 50s that I started competing. So I don't know if you want me to continue that
Yes.
conversation
Yeah.
or okay.
Go ahead.
So
Hmm.
I think it was when I turned 51. I don't know. It's like either 50 or 51, but I had started a new job. Well, I haven't been working in occupational therapy since my kids were born. So I've been home with my kids, and I've just been doing office management with my husband's office. He's a dentist. So I just kind of work for him. And then I decided to pick up a side job. And so my boss I started working at a hair salon, and she just needed me to fill in here and there because I'm not licensed or anything like that. So I was just filling in, and I just liked being around, the salon and stuff. So my boss was telling me she was getting ready for a show. And I'm like, what kind of show? And she says, a bodybuilding show. And I'm like, no way. Like, I've always wanted to do something like that. And so she would bring in her food every day and like tell me what she was doing. And then she went, to Tucson, which was like 2 hours from here. She went down to Tucson and did her show. It was a natural bodybuilding show. And she got first place, and she won the overall, and she got her pro card.
Wow.
And she came back, and she's talking about it, and she was like all excited, and she looked at me and she said, "You could have gone up there just the way you are, and you would have done really well." And I thought, really? So I got really excited about it, and I thought maybe she could kind of hold my hand while I, try to do a bodybuilding competition, because I really got excited about it. And I felt like this is, the time in my life that I want to do that. And but I hired a coach because I didn't want to like rely on her. I wanted to like have a coach. And so I got a coach who was like an NPC coach. So we never did the natural bodybuilding because I thought that was the direction we were going to start. But he was already an NPC and he had a couple of men that he was training for a show that was coming up in 15 weeks. And so I'm like, okay. So I had a really great coach. He's the kind of coach that calls you every day. Like we have, I forget the name of it, but it's like not like your personal call, but it's a call that you can answer anytime. But he'll call that every day and check in on you and ask you, what are you eating today? What are you working out today?
Wow. I'm
And he was
impressed.
like the perfect first coach. And he was just like such a cheerleader and he just was so on top of like my diet and everything. And I just felt like he did such a phenomenal job and I gave him 100%. I did everything he asked me to do. And so I had my first show and I didn't do really well. It's your first show and
Yeah.
your posing is not that great. And
Oh,
but it was just a taste that I thought, oh, this is really cool. I want to keep going. And so I continued doing shows that year. I did 5 shows my first year
wow.
and
That's a
ended
lot.
up my last one was in Anaheim, the Masters Nationals, or what do you call it, Masters USA. And I got second place at Masters USA. And so I thought that was, a really good, successful year. I made a lot of progress that year from my first show to my last. And, my posing improved, my glutes improved, everything improved. And I was really sad to take some time off, but I had some hernias and I knew like if I wanted to pursue, growing my glutes and pushing myself hard that I was going to have these hernias done. So I had hernia repair in December of 22 and my at the same time, I'm like, well, let's do a tummy tuck and, let's pull the abs together. So I had the diastasis recti and I had a tummy tuck at the same time. And I don't know if you've ever had a tummy tuck, but it pulls you down. So you're kind of like hunched over for about 8 weeks
Oh, wow.
because they tighten you so much. And it's a very slow recovery. And so I had a pretty slow recovery. And with the diastasis recti, where they pulled the abs together, my surgeon was like, you cannot do core work for a year.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
So I was like, okay, I know I'm going to take some downtime, but I was able to get back to the gym after about 3 months. I was able to do my upper body and I started working my arms. And then at about 6 months, I was starting to do lower body, like bridges and lunges and nothing loaded. Just slowly working into it. And then, right after that, he gave me the okay that I could start doing deadlifts and back squats, loaded back squats. So I'm like, okay, we're 7 months past, right? Everything should be good. And so my youngest daughter, she was 11 at the time. She and I went up to Utah for a volleyball camp that she wanted to participate in. And I have an older daughter that was, I think, 19 at the time, and she lives up in Provo. So we dropped off my youngest daughter at volleyball camp, and then my oldest daughter and I went to the gym. And we started with legs. We started warming up. It was leg day today. And I'm like, I'm going to hit the Smith machine for the first time in 7 months. And we start warming up and we did like a 20-minute glute warm up and we are ready to go. And then we go to the Smith machine and she goes first and then I go and we take turns. And at first I had really, really light weight on it. And after a couple of sets, I'm like, I think I'm going to push myself a little bit. I'm feeling pretty good. So I loaded a few more plates on, but it wasn't super heavy or anything. It was just, I think like I used to hit, I used to load like um 30 and 30 on each side, like 60, but it was even half that. It was just not much at all. And so then I was doing my last set and about halfway through, I got this burst in my back. It was just like all of a sudden I felt this burst and I, didn't know what was happening, but I had an idea that my back had broken. And so my legs all of a sudden were collapsing underneath me because I'd hit my spinal cord with that burst. And so I had I had nothing in my legs to hold me up and they were going down and I'm holding the bar and the bar's coming down on me. And I didn't know how to, it was happened so fast and I didn't know what to do because I couldn't like move my hands to click or anything. I was just frozen trying to hold myself up. And so I just dropped myself down underneath the bar onto the ground because that's the only thing I could think of was to just drop. And the bar was on the Smith machine, so it wasn't going to crush me. I was going to be able to just drop underneath it. So I was lucky to get out from underneath it. And so I'm laying on the ground and I'm ventilating, just like what happened. And I'm looking down at my legs and I can't move them at all. And I touch my leg and it feels like a bag of water. Like I couldn't feel the sensation in my legs. And so my daughter, is like seeing all of this and because she was like, I don't know if she was on her phone or she was turned around, but she didn't see like it happened. She just saw me fall to the ground. And so she turns around and she sees me. And I look over at this other lady who was like working out next to me. And I said, call 911. I broke my back. And so then I don't remember if I told my daughter to call my husband or if she was just already, I think she was already calling him when I was, and she's on the phone and she's like, Mom she broke her back and she can't move her legs. And so he's, of course, freaks out. He cancels all of his patients and gets the first plane that he can get, first flight out. And meanwhile, I'm just like holding my body up because I didn't want to lay down because I felt like I'd suffocate. I just wanted to keep my body up and breathe. So I was sitting up and I'm thinking to myself, okay, hurry up, ambulance, get here, fix this quick because I have things to do. I had plans today. I had friends to see, and I have, I'm starting to think about getting back on stage, and I'm like, let's just hurry up and fix this, right? And so then the ambulance arrives pretty quickly. The paramedics get there, and they hook me up with a bunch of medications and things like that, and they get me on the stretcher, and they get me into the ambulance. And at that point, that's when the pain hits. Because at first I was kind of I didn't have any pain. I was just like hyperventilating. And so now all of a sudden I have this pain and I'm screaming in the ambulance and we get to the emergency room and they get me in and my daughter had followed us in her car and she gets there and now she sees me screaming. Like she didn't see me screaming before. So now she sees me screaming and I'm in pain. And so she starts crying and I look over and I see her crying and I'm like, no, don't let her see me like this. I didn't want her to suffer because I was suffering,
Oh.
and then the pain would kind of subside a little bit and they would ask me questions and then they would send me into the MRI and, try to figure out what was going on. And so they found that my L1 vertebrae had broke into two pieces and one of them went right into my spinal cord. So they wanted to get that off as quickly as they could. So, I think I was in surgery probably like within 45 minutes. It was pretty fast. And they had to like cut my gym clothes off my body, which I'm thinking, oh, those were my cute purple. I'm like, oh, that was a cute bra.
Oh.
So anyway, I get into surgery and I think it lasts about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And I wake up and my husband is there by my side as I wake up and I can move my quads. Like I have my quads back. So they call that an incomplete spinal cord injury. There's complete and incomplete. And if it's incomplete, then you still have some messages that are coming through. So they were like, oh, okay, that's good. You're incomplete. You're getting some movement. This is great. Maybe you'll get everything back. Nobody really knows how, things are going to go. So it was very positive. So I had my quads, but I didn't have any ankle movement, no toe movement, and I couldn't use my hamstrings or, any glute movement. So it's just, my quads in the front. And so a couple of days later, well, my daughter comes, we go pick her up, or I didn't, but my husband goes to pick her up that night from volleyball camp. And she's like, what are you doing here? Because my husband's here now and mom's in the hospital and all this has gone on and she's been in volleyball camp. So it was a big surprise for her. And it was hard. It was hard for her to be like, oh, my mom's in the hospital and all this is going on. But she continued to do volleyball camp for the rest of the camp. And my husband stayed for a couple of days And then he flew home with her. And then my daughter that lives there continued to sleep every night with me in the hospital, which was really sweet. And so about 4 days after the surgery, I remembered that I was doing a 90-day challenge. And I had started this challenge, I think, June 1st. And I was on day like 43 when this accident happened. And I sat there and thought, I could still do this challenge because there's like 10 things you have to do. You have to drink a gallon of water. I'm like, I can drink a gallon of water. And then another one was you have to read for 30 minutes a day. And or is it 30 minutes or 10 pages? I think it's 10 pages. And I'm like, I could read 10 pages a day. And then it was, you have to work out at the gym for 45 minutes. And I'm like, well, I can't go to the gym, but I can wave my arms up and down for 45 minutes every day. And I can do lateral raises and I can lift my arms. So
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
okay, that'll count. And then you're supposed to go outside for 30 minutes a day. And I'm like, well, I could take my wheelchair out and push myself around for 30 minutes. And, we're supposed to like post a picture of ourselves on social media. Like, I can't remember all the other things. Oh, and you have to follow your food plan. And I'm like, I've still got my food that I brought on vacation. Like I could still follow my meal plan. So I continued to do the challenge. And I'm really glad that I chose to do that because it was like a distraction of like what was
Right.
really
Oh
happening.
yeah, yeah.
And it just kept me going. I had something to look forward to every day to get through the pain and through the hard physical therapy and everything. And so it was such a boost for me to be able to just keep doing this challenge, even though it wasn't 100%. And I knew the outcome wasn't going to be what I wanted when I started, but I continued to do that. And I was only in Utah for 1 week, and then they took me by ambulance back to Mesa, Arizona, where I was in a rehab hospital for about 3 weeks. And during that time, I did physical therapy every day. I tried to teach me how to get in and out of bed and transferred, to a shower chair and all those things I had to learn. And I felt like I wasn't ready to come home. I'm like, I'm not ready. Like half these things I can't do. I can't go to the bathroom by myself. I'm like, I need help with like everything. And so I felt like they kind of pushed me out too early. And I was a little bit scared. I was trying to find somebody that could like come stay with me because my husband, he's got his job, my kids have school, and my sister had come. She helped me for 2 weeks after my hernia repair because I needed someone there for a couple of weeks. And I'm like, can you come and stay with me for a couple of weeks and kind of help me? Like, I can't like dress myself or go to the bathroom. I mean, like, and she's like, no, I'm really busy with my job. And I kind of felt like, how am I gonna do this? This is gonna be really hard. But here we go. And so I came home and I had contacted the police department or the fire department. I think it was the fire department. And they come out and they put grab bars into your bathroom for free. So they installed grab bars into my shower and into my bathroom. And my son and his wife were coming to visit. I'm like, okay, at least I have some help for the weekend or something. And I found that I was way more independent than I thought I was going to be. Like after a day or two, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got this. Like I can do this. And so that was like such a relief that I could actually get to the bathroom by myself. And as I just had to plan, like everything was so different, like how I did things. And so I had to just like think ahead, like how am I going to do this and how am I going to set up for that? Um and so I was able to do those things. And then I had to have rides because I couldn't drive myself. So I was able to reach out to my church community and they signed up to drive me to physical therapy. And I had some swelling in my legs, and the therapists weren't able to get very far with me. And they're like, you've got to get the swelling down. So I called my church community and I asked the ladies to come in and rub my feet. And they came in every day for 50, all it needed was 10, 15 minutes. Every day, someone would sign up in the morning and they would just rub my feet to get the swelling down. And then I could go to therapy and everything was good. But it was really, I mean, we had so much help. It was so amazing. We had people bringing us meals. We had people rubbing my feet. We had people giving me rides. And I just, my heart is just like so full of like, thank you to everybody, like the nurses, the paramedics, like so many people that are there that help you when you go through this hard time. And then coming home and having so many people help you, it's just been such a blessing. Um, and so at one point, you get more independent, and then you're like, I wish I could pay back. Like I remember feeling that I wish I could pay back everything that I've experienced that people have given me. And it's harder to do that in a wheelchair, but there's, things that will come around that at least you can support other people through your messages and things to kind of pay back. But um anyway, I don't know where I'm like, there's so many random things directions I can go with that. But um
Well, let me ask you a couple of questions.
okay.
So, after the first few hours and days after your injury, what do you remember like most vividly?
After the first few days, um,
Or not, or we could lead into how did you process that initial shock that, your life now has changed so dramatically? I mean, literally in a split second. And then all of a sudden it's overwhelming, but it sounds like, your mindset. I mean, it's like when you get diagnosed with cancer or, you have an injury and you're out for 6 months or, whatever. It's like, I think mindset's everything, but it sounds like where you're concerned that you never once, and I'm sure you did. I mean, the thought of like getting this type of diagnosis, it has to be alarming, stressful, tragic, overwhelming. But it's like you have this like ironclad mindset that you were just like, I'm not going to let this get to me. And then you were like trying to figure out things that you could do just to keep moving forward. That's so amazing. I don't come across too many people like that.
I think just with like the unknown of not knowing exactly what was going to happen in the future, and then nobody ever told me like you'll walk, you'll never walk, or I mean, I never got like a future sentence or anything. Like nobody ever said anything except that, oh, you got your quads back. You should be able to get more back. Like there was always this positivity about that. And I always felt like, okay, I don't know. I just felt like I can handle this. I can do this. And I always felt like this peace inside. And I I kind of I feel like when I was in the ambulance and I was having all this pain, I remember having like regrets and feelings of like, why did I do that? Why was why I just remember being mad at myself and just being like, oh man, why did I do this? And my husband, well, actually, it was a friend of mine that actually came, and before I went into surgery, he had given me he prayed for me and gave me a blessing. And in the blessing, I was told that I would be given peace. And I remember, like after the surgery, I always felt that peace. Like I didn't, I forgave myself or something. Like I wasn't mad at myself anymore. Like I just had this peace that everything was going to be okay, no matter what happened. It was like I just felt this peace within me. And um, as I was leaving the hospital, they said, we didn't know what was going to happen, but there was a nurse that's like, there are a lot of amazing things you can do in a wheelchair. There's a lot of sports. There's like tennis, there's basketball, there's all these things. And she was talking to me, and in my mind, I was like, ooh, that would be fun. Like trying a new sport or, doing something out of the ordinary. That sounds really cool. And so I kind of had, I don't know, that peace and that mindset of like, whatever happened, I was going to make the best of it. Something fun was going to happen out of it. And I didn't always feel that way. I definitely hit my low moments and moments of like of hardship of, oh my gosh, this is going to be forever. I thought I'd be out of a wheelchair by now or something. And but I think it was just having that peace and having some positivity going forward that is going to work out.
Right. Because I'm sure when that emotional weight of reality hit you, um, it seems like to me that, you could be like at a crossroads and you could go down
Mhm.
one way where you are the victim, or you can go down another path where you're the victor.
Mhm.
And it sounds like to me that when you had that, decision to make, that you didn't even flinch and you took the victor route.
Yeah.
What were some of the earliest challenges that you faced physically and mentally in those first couple of weeks?
The pain, I had a lot of pain, especially at night when I was laying there trying to sleep in the hospital bed. It was just a lot of pain, fatigue, like just getting through the day without having a nap or two, doing therapy. Therapy was hard. Um, it was scary. Sometimes they'd make me do things that I did not want to do. They're trying to get me to stand up and take steps and to do all these things. And it's scary because I felt like I was going to fall and I didn't have the strength underneath my feet to hold myself up. And um, so yeah, I mean, it was very painful and hard the first couple of weeks. Just getting through that and being able to get myself out of bed. Like I couldn't even roll over. I couldn't pull my legs up. There's just, all those things that you're reliant on everyone to help you do. And that was hard. Definitely.
Well, it sounds like you had a lot of support. I mean, I was going to ask you who or what was your biggest source of support during this period, but it sounds like it was like multiple venues.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I had a lot of help. And even, I mean, I can tell you once I didn't tell you the story about getting to the gym, but once I was back to the gym, I was scared to go back because I wasn't sure what people would say or do or how I'd manage getting around. But I was pleasantly surprised that so many people offered help. Let me know if you need help, and can I help you load plates, or can I help you with this or that, or can I help you with rides? Like even had a lady ask me if she could give me a ride or help me. And I'm like, wait a minute, you have like four little kids and you're busy and you're offering to drive me. So yeah, it was just my community plus just people that I would encounter every day.
So, at what point did the shift happen from surviving the injury to rebuilding your life? It sounds like to me it was pretty much immediate.
Um, so I had the 90-day challenge to kind of keep me focused until I think it was the end of August. I think it ended the end of August. And I remember crying that night that the challenge was over. I was home and I was sleeping in my daughter's room because she had a bunk bed that had railing so I could pull myself over and she could help me. But we were getting ready for bed and I just started crying and my husband and my daughter were there and they're like, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "The 90-day challenge is over."
Oh,
And I'm like, and this is not what I wanted to have happen at the end of my 90 days. I was just kind of sad that it was over. And and right after it was done, I just kind of had this loss of purpose. It was like, how am I going to get through life? Like I'm in a wheelchair every day. This is hard. I can't drive myself. Um, my life is not the same. And so it's almost like I had to look at reality again because I was so focused on this challenge. And now I had no purpose, no goal. And so that became really hard day after day. And I remember thinking when I was in therapy, maybe I could just go to sleep for about 9 months and then wake up and then I can walk again. Like I had to go through it. Like I couldn't just go to sleep and wake up and it's all good. It's like I had to go through every day, getting up in a wheelchair, dressing myself, all the things. And it was like I just have to go through it. And that was a hard reality that this is going to last a lot longer than I thought. I thought maybe I'd be walking in 3 months or whatever. And it's like, nope, it's
right.
not going to happen.
Well, it sounds like was there a specific moment when you realized that I'm not done and I'm just beginning a new, different journey?
Um, well, yeah, it was when I got back into bodybuilding. So, the Whitney Jones show that's here every year in October was coming up. So I had, September where I just didn't really have a goal. And then October hit and it was like, oh, I want to go watch the show. I have some friends that are going to watch and friends that are going to be in it. And then it got me thinking, I wonder if there's bodybuilding for people with wheelchairs. And I asked my physical therapist, I said, do you think there's bodybuilding for people in wheelchairs? And he says, oh yeah, I've seen it on social media. And I'm like, really? And so we went to the Whitney Jones show. We had a great time. I got all excited about maybe I could get back into the sport. So I go home and I get my laptop out and I start researching bodybuilding for wheelchair, and I find wheelchairbodybuilding.com. How easy is that?
Wow.
And so I see these men on stage and I see them on the NPC and IFBB, and I'm like, wait, I've never seen this. I've never heard of it. I didn't even know it existed. And so I, tried to contact them and I tried to find women and I'm like, there's no women here. All I see are the men. I don't see any women. I found one woman. Her name is Jen Paskey and she looked fabulous on stage. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to look like her and I want to be on stage. And so, that was the flip, that it was like, there's a possibility that I can continue bodybuilding in a wheelchair. And so I called up my coach that was doing the 90-day challenge with me, and I knew she'd been to the Arnold before because I found out that there's wheelchair bodybuilding competitions at the Arnold Amateur.
Mhm.
And so I called her and I said, "Hey, what do you think about taking me to the Arnold?" And she was like so excited about that. And
I love the Arnold. I mean, I went
yeah,
for years and years and years. I haven't been since COVID, but I loved going to the Arnold.
it's so fun and it's so well run. Like they only have so many athletes per division and they're right always on time. Everything is so smooth. Um, the Arnold is great. But anyway, so I had 4 months to get ready for the Arnold. And so that was my turnover. Like all of a sudden I had a passion, I had a drive, I had a goal, and it was something that I was familiar with. And so I got excited about life again. And it was just like everything changed. And I'm like, I don't care if I spend the rest of my life in a wheelchair. I can at least do bodybuilding again. So
So talk to us about that first um, competition prep after your surgery in a wheelchair. I mean,
yeah.
I know it's completely different, but you're excited, but at the same time, you have to do a lot of adapting. So kind of walk us through your competition prep.
Yeah. So we had to figure out how I was going to do cardio. They have, the hand cycles,
Right.
and I found that my arms were getting really tired and wearing down because I'm pushing myself in a chair, I'm pushing weights, and then I have to use my arms to do cardio as well, which was like my arms were starting to like break down and, elbow issues and shoulder issues. And I'm like, oh, is there any way that I can do something else? And I was able to swim. And with swimming, if I put a float, I have this waist, it's like a floater that goes around your waist. It's a belt. And when I put that on, it kind of floats me up and I'm able to use my quads. So I was able to kick my legs and my arms at the same time. So swimming was like the go-to. And so that was the one thing we had to figure out how to overcome. And then my physical therapist had someone donated a recumbent tricycle that had straps on the ankle straps because I mean I can't do anything with my feet, but I can use my quads, and so I was able to do a recumbent tricycle and strap my ankles on, and then I could push the wheels as long as I wasn't going uphill.
Mhm.
And I have a flat neighborhood. I was able to get around the neighborhood on that, and so
Wow.
between my tricycle and swimming, I was able to get my cardio in without overdoing my upper body. And so that was one of the challenges we had to overcome. And then the other one was how am I going to get to the gym because I can't drive. And so then I was able to, I was thinking, okay, I have a ride to therapy. So maybe they could just drop me off at the gym. And then all I need is someone to come pick me up and take me home. So at first we started out, my husband would take me to the gym on his way to work. And then I had my ride to therapy and back. And then if that didn't work out, I would call and have somebody, come pick me up. And so then I had, several people that would give me rides to the gym, and which was so great. And in my neighbor who's next door, she's like, even if I say no, that just means I can't for today, but keep asking me. And I love that open invitation that, when people would, even though they say no, because you hate asking all the time.
Right.
And then my kids wanted to go hang out with their friends. They're like, Mom, I need a ride. So I'd call my neighbors for that too. And so I always felt like I was always asking, can you give my kid a ride? Can you give me a ride? And so it's hard to do that. I mean, mentally. So when someone offers anytime, even if I say no, just keep asking. And I love that about her. But I was able to get rides to the gym until about January when I was able to start driving myself. And because I was able to figure out how to get my wheelchair into the car. And then I was able to do an AFO. It's a brace that holds my ankle because I had some quad movement. I was able to push the pedals, but my ankles were floppy. So I have an AFO that keeps it tight and firm. And so I'm able to hit the pedals. So in January, we had that all figured out. So I was able to start driving in January. Um, so then I was able to be more consistent and, get to the gym and stay as long as I wanted or whatever. But, and then as far as like equipment, I needed like, there's a lot of things I couldn't do as far as like, if I couldn't do both arms, like my balance wasn't very good to with the pull down. So I couldn't do double, both arms on a bar because number one, it was way too high for me. I couldn't reach it. And then pulling it down, I didn't always have like the stability. So I'd always need help with that, but I was able to change it to different machines where I was doing single arm. So learning to find what works, like I'd have to have my brakes on the wheels, certain things with the pulley. So with the pulleys, I'd either have to sit on the ground and do the pulleys on the ground, or I would have to have my brakes. They'd have to like stick. Sometimes my brakes would get really loose, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that exercise today. I have to tighten up my brakes. Like face pulls and things like that. And then I eventually found and discovered like getting on the ground was so much easier because I could stabilize myself. I'd have to sit on my cushion though, because I don't have any muscle on my bum. And so I would have to like pull my cushion off. And as long as I'm sitting on a cushion, I could pull. Um, so yeah, just, figuring out and like the free or the dumbbells, I would have to like pick one up at a time, put it in my lap, pick up the other one and put it in my lap, and then I have to push myself over to the bench and then pick them up and put them on the bench, and then I have to transfer to the bench, and then so it's not like, oh, these 10s are too light, I need a 12 now. Then I have to like do the whole thing over again, put it back in my lap, push myself over, put them over. It's a process. So like everything takes longer. But I've adjusted and I've kind of learned like what weights I can pick up and know, so I won't have to be like doing trips back and forth. Um, I mean, there are some things that I wish I had some help with, like if somebody could just hand me really heavy dumbbells so I could do shoulder press, but then I can do the plate loaded ones, so you just kind of adjust your workout to things you can get on and off of easy. So I don't know. I don't feel like there's any limitations now. In the beginning, it was just hard to navigate, but now it's like I can do just about anything.
That's amazing. And so talk to us about like, I know, and you'll laugh because when I first started competing, I was 56. And the following year, when I was 57, I decided that I wanted to do the Arnold. And
That's awesome.
back then, that was like 12 years ago, I guess, 10 years ago. There was no categories. It was just like open. And
Wow.
my coach was like, "Are you crazy?" She's like, "You're going to be up against 20 somethings and 30 somethings." And I said, "I know, but I just want to do it." And kind of the same thing. And she's like,
I love that.
"Okay, whatever."
Yeah.
So I competed at the Arnold, and and they went by height classes, so it was because it was the amateur, it was the NPC. And there were 20 women, and I came in 15th.
Wow.
So you better believe it. I acted like I won the whole damn show
Yes.
because I was laughing that I'm 30 years older than these gals and that I beat five of them.
That's
And
awesome.
I was beside myself. I was so happy. And so that was, and I actually did the show with a friend too. And my coach was out there in the audience, and I could hear her say, "Smile, Helen." And I was like laughing, going, "Oh my God, shut up. Don't embarrass me." I mean, I'm up here with these 20 somethings to begin with. Um, but yeah, but I love the whole Arnold thing. I mean, how did you finally feel when you like got on stage up there? Like this is the first time after your accident. I mean, you had to, I would think that had this feeling of euphoria, like I made it, I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was because I knew when I took the time off for my hernia repair, I knew I was going to go back on stage. And it was like, but this was 10 times more than just coming back from hernia. This was like on stage in a wheelchair coming back. And it was really, I mean, I was very emotional, you know. I was excited to be in front of a judge again. And just when it was over, I was just so emotional, like, I'm back, you know, I've done it. You know, it was a really amazing feeling of being able to get back on stage, even if it's in a wheelchair.
And were there other female wheelchair competitors?
I was lucky enough to have a competitor, yes, because there's not very many. And so it wasn't like nationals or anything. It was just a local show. So there was no, I mean, we call it local, but
Yeah.
there was no like pro card or anything like that. But I did have competition and that was really nice. And I knew she was coming and we kind of watched each other on Instagram as we were getting ready and getting closer to the show. And so that was really fun to have somebody else there.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. And when did you think, like probably after this show, you probably were like, and for me, when after I did my first show, I was 56 and I did a 35 plus bikini show locally in Charlotte. And I came in third. And I was like kind of the same thing. I didn't win, but I'm like, oh my God, I'm loving this. You know, it's like you
Yeah.
see your body changing, and it was just like, I'm going to keep doing this. So I'm sure after the Arnold, um, your sights were set on what after that?
Yeah. So Wheelchair Nationals is every June 1st. Sometimes it's
Oh,
May
perfect.
31st. So it was 3 months later, and I knew that's what you do. You go to nationals. That's what you want to do. And so I was going to work for that. And I knew that there wasn't really anybody else that was going to go to nationals, but I'm like, I'm going to show up anyway. Um, you know, their pro cards were very sparse. They are very sparse for the wheelchair women because there's not very many to compete. And the one Jen Paskey, who does have the pro card, she didn't earn it by competing against anyone else. She just showed up over and over and over again, and they're like, let's give her a pro card because you know she looks like a pro and she's been at this for so many years.
Right.
And so I thought the more I show up, the closer I'm going to get to that pro card. And so I worked really hard for that, made some changes from the Arnold, made some improvements, and showed up at Wheelchair Nationals and gave it my best and was not expecting a pro card at all, but they awarded me the pro card and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, no way. I can't believe it, you know. So it was very surreal and exciting. And and so as a pro in wheelchair for women, because there's no pro shows, you get to guest pose at the Arnold and the Olympia. And so that was the next thing. It was like after I got the pro card, I got to go to Olympia 3 months later or four, whatever it was. And so I had something right to keep working for the Olympia.
How was that? I mean, I've been to the Olympia several times, and it's like you follow all these people, and then you're there. And especially when you go to the meet and greet and stuff like that, and you're
Yeah,
like, this is crazy. I think once now that I'm a pro, I don't get that. It's like, oh my God, I'm just like, because you see these people at shows and you've met a lot of people. But I think back when you first start, it's like, especially going to the Olympia, you must have just
yeah,
been, oh my gosh,
yeah.
all eyes on you.
Yes. Yeah, it was a really great experience and because I had been to the Arnold, like I was like used to the expo and like the athletes meetings and things like that. I kind of had an idea of all of that, the meet and greet. So coming into the Olympia, I had a little bit of taste of that, but I also was like I don't even look as muscular as these bikini girls. Like it was kind of like, what am I doing here? Like, you know, it's my division and there's no one else. But it was at the same time, you know, I felt like I had made progress and I was doing good. But I look around and I'm like, what am I doing on the Olympia stage?
Mhm.
You know, so it was like, wow, I really got to put on some muscle or you know, just like, you know, yeah, it kind of gives you that perspective of what Olympians look like. And and then, you know, it's just like, oh gosh, I would hope to be able to look like that eventually. But anyway,
So let's moving up to today. What does your current training routine look like?
so let's see. I've changed it a little bit over the years. where, let's see, what did I do? What did I change? Um, I have a trainer, or I had a trainer here, and we worked really, really well together. And I can't remember. I think I did. I'm trying to remember my split, but now I have a different split. I think I did like a 4 day split. I'm pretty sure. And so every fourth day I was back to the same body part. And but sometimes she'd have me hit shoulders twice within that. Like she'd
Hmm.
add in shoulders or something in that. But I think I had like a 4 day split, and then I switched to a 3 day split. So I was hitting chest and shoulders twice, back twice, and then arms twice, and started having a little bit of elbow issues again. And so I had to break that down again to like the 4 day split. Um, so I usually do back 1 day, and I'll do chest 1 day, or chest and shoulders, and then arms. That was my 3 day split, but I've I changed it up to my shoulders and chest separate. So I do back, chest, shoulder, and arms. So anyway, so I just spend a little bit more time on my chest, and then I do, rest and then do my shoulders 1 day. Um, so yeah, anything, but I usually do like a 4 day split. It's all upper body, it's like every day is upper body day. And I think that's a good thing, because I feel like I'm getting, I'm able to put on progress and grow because I'm hitting those body parts a couple times a week. Um, and the more I watch people, like even in bikini or wellness, they're like, oh, I hit my legs 4 times a week and I only hit my upper body once or twice. And it's like, that's what you do when you're in your sport and you're trying to develop those muscles. You kind of hit
Yeah.
them more than you do the other parts. So, um, I feel like, doing upper body every day has really given me the advantage of growing. So.
Yeah. And what role does mindset play in your preparation, especially on tough days?
Well, I would say the hardest thing is the diet. Sticking to the diet is so hard. Um, and it's definitely mindset. It's definitely mindset. You've just got to say, I promised my coach I was going to stick to my diet this week, or I promised myself, or I've got this goal and I really want to hit it. So yeah, I mean, those are hard, where you just have to walk away when you want to keep eating, or you just,
Especially during the holidays, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's the hardest part. It's just is you've got to get yourself mentally um sharp, so you don't fall into the little traps that your head starts to say, oh, it's okay if I do this, or that's okay if I just don't go to the gym 1 day, or something like that. So you have to keep the prize in mind, like the goal, the total end goal. It's like, okay, I still have to work as hard as I can and eat the best I can. So
Right. What habits or daily rituals do you do that help keep you grounded, focused, and emotionally strong?
ooh, that's a good question. Um, It's funny, people ask me, and I'm like, I don't know that I really have anything that I do. I mean, um, what do I do that keeps me emotionally strong? I don't know. I mean, I pray every day. I have a connection to God. I, I feel like I listen to a lot of good podcasts that keep me like focused on the things I want to focus on in my life. And, I was thinking one more thing and I can't remember what it was, but and just like I think music is huge. It's a huge thing for me. It's like if I need just some extra energy at the gym or whatever, I just put on
Right?
headphones and it just
Yeah.
totally brings it. So I think music is huge.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I normally listen to podcasts when I'm working out, but if I'm at the gym one day where I'm just not feeling it, I'm going through the
Yeah.
motions, I'm like, I need some like good old 70s rock and roll or something
Yeah. Yeah,
to,
for sure. It's
to
the
get me
music gets you
going.
going.
So I'm guessing I'm going to ask this question, but I think I know what your answer is. What has been your proudest moment on this journey so far, on or off the stage?
Hmm. I would have to say that I went to Wheelchair Nationals last year to watch an amateur girl come in and compete. I would have to say that was really a really wonderful experience for me, watching another amateur come into the sport and see her perform on stage and look fabulous and just be part of the women's wheelchair bodybuilding. I'm like, that was like, I don't know. It was just like, this is so cool. I would love for more people to love what I love. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I would love to have more women backstage that I can talk to before going on, even if we're competing against each other. It's like I just hang out with the guys in
Uh-huh.
the back, backstage, it's me and all the men. And it would just be so great to have more women in there. And I think that was just like um, a moment of like, I'm sure she was inspired by me, to get her up on
Hmm.
stage.
Right.
And just like Jen was an inspiration to me, that I feel like I hope that I'm an inspiration to other people to get into the sport, and to get out of their comfort zone and to get up on stage. And because I think, like me, I was bodybuilding before, and it's hard to find women who are in wheelchairs to get like, oh, I want to put on a bikini and go in front of a judge. Like,
Hmm.
it's like,
Right.
unless you are already doing that or you really are passionate about the gym, it's hard to find, women with that same passion. So, I don't know, that was just like a really cool moment for me, was to watch her on stage. So,
Kind of like a proud mama moment, I'm guessing.
yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's awesome. What messages or message do you have that you hope women can receive when they witness your strength and resilience through all of this?
Um, well, I hope that people can see that there are good people in the world, that if you need help, they're there to help you. And when you set a goal and want to accomplish it, you can. Like there are so many people that will help you, accomplish that goal. Um, and that trying, even if you fail, is better than not trying at all. And there's a lot of people um, who share the same journey. And I think with Instagram and like social media, we can, you make those networks with people. You find people that are like in the same journey that you are. And and you rise and you find out there's like all these groups that are doing these really cool things. And so just keep looking for the thing that is meaningful to you. And there will be something. There will be something. So I think my message is just keep going, keep looking, keep searching for that perfect thing that fits your life and fulfills you.
It's a great answer. Um, are there any misconceptions that you want to break about disability, aging, or athletic potential?
Oh, misconceptions. Well, I don't know. I'm like, let me think. Um, I mean, I only from personal experience that I can think of is that like I never ever imagined myself in this space. Like I never imagined myself in a
Hmm.
wheelchair. Um, and I think living my life the way I did, I don't know that I could understand what people in a wheelchair go through.
Hmm.
Um, so, I relate that to like everything else. I don't understand what other people are going through, who've lost a child. Like I've never lost a child, or there's certain, hardships that I've never experienced.
Right.
And it's like, it's kind of opened my eyes to like be sensitive to people and try to understand where they're coming from. So even though my disability is visible, um, I don't know. It's hard to say because unless you've experienced it, it's almost humbling, because before I saw the wheelchair and now I see the person in the wheelchair.
Right.
And
Right.
I think it's like I think that just having awareness that, people in a wheelchair have not always been in a wheelchair. Some have not. But, some of us had lives just like you, and accidents happen. And so just being aware, I think, and just being more willing to understand what people are going through.
Right, right. That's another great answer. Do you have any future goals or dreams that you're chasing right now?
Um, I think, I mean, I'm still working on the bodybuilding because I enjoy that and I enjoy the outrigger canoe paddling, but I love like watching girls dance in the wheelchair. And I would love to have, like, I wish my daughter would do it with me, but she doesn't do any social media stuff. But I want to have like a little dance group where I'm with able body and then myself in the wheelchair where you do the same dance moves. I've seen people do it and I think it looks really cool. And I'm like, I'd like to like do that. Like either join a dance group and learn how to do some really cool dance moves, and do like, a dance group with some other people. I think that would be really fun. Um, and then I also have been intrigued by the moms that are in wheelchairs and have babies and like they strap their babies in the lap and they take them to the grocery store and all these things. And I think I'm going to be a grandma someday, like pretty close, like in maybe a year or two. And I'd like to learn all those skills of like these young moms and how they do it and be able to
Right.
start incorporating that so that my kids are like, okay, I'll let you babysit my kid. Because that's the one thing that I never imagined myself as a grandma in a wheelchair, like a young grandma in a wheelchair. And so it makes me sad that like I'm not going to just be able to babysit and take them to the park and go for walks and all these things. So like life is going to be different as my grandma eyes, to my grandkids. So I'm hoping to be as flexible and fun and be able to do all the things that my kids would love for me to be able to do for them. Um, so hopefully I can. So that's another goal is just to be able to figure out ways of taking care of kids when you're in a wheelchair. So I'm like that, and I'm an occupational therapist, so I'm like I know that that's part of like occupational therapy. So I'm like maybe I'll dive into that and maybe use my license to, share what I'm learning
Hmm.
to help other people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. This is my final question. If you could leave listeners with one powerful message about rebuilding, redefining limits, or reclaiming identity after trauma, what would that be?
Um, well, I believe that um, God has a plan for everyone and that what you're going through has purpose. And maybe you don't see it right away, but if you look for it, you can find all the things that you can become, and that sometimes you think your life is going to go one way, but it goes another way, but it can be beautiful and amazing. And so I think that everything that happens in your life is for a reason and for your growth, and that you should just take it on head on and just say, okay, this is it, and let's make the best of it. Let's find all the opportunities that we can with it.
That's a great answer, and that's a great way to end the conversation. If people want to find you on social media, where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram, and if you look up Sharla Peterson, you'll find my Instagram, which is IFBB Pro Fit Chick on Wheels with a Z at the end. Um, that's pretty much where I'm at.
Okay, awesome. Well, Charlotte, you've been just a delight to chat with. Your resilience and your positivity are just blowing up the screen as I speak to you. So I know I actually have a good friend right now who's going through some pretty heavy things health-wise. And I can't wait for her to listen to this conversation because I think it's
Oh,
going to be very motivating. So
oh, that's great.
for
Well,
that, I
thank you.
thank you also too. But I know you and I both live here in Phoenix, and that's the great thing is that I can actually see you in person
Yeah,
next
I
time we
know.
chat.
It's been fun. Yeah.
So take care, have a great afternoon, and again, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
I sure hope you enjoyed my conversation with Sharla. What an amazing woman, so inspirational. And here are some takeaways that I got from our conversation. Number 1, adversity doesn't get the final say. Now, Sharla's accident changed her body, but not her identity. She refused to let circumstance define her trajectory, proving that setbacks are situations, not destinies. Number 2, strength lives in the mindset. Now, for Sharla, real strength isn't about quads, glutes, or stage presence. It's about mindset. Her journey shows that mental resilience is the engine behind physical transformation. Number 3, reinvention is possible at any point in life. When the gym accident closed one chapter, she wrote a new one. Competing from a wheelchair and earning her IFBB Pro card showcased the power of reinvention, not resignation. Number 4, faith and purpose can fuel forward momentum. Sharla shared openly that her faith in God's purpose gave her peace and direction. Believing her story had meaning allowed her to keep moving forward even when the path wasn't easy. And number 5, eyes forward is a lifestyle, not a slogan. Her refusal to look back, focusing on what she could do, not what she lost, turned pain into purpose and adversity into advantage. That mental posture may be her greatest victory. If you would like to reach out to Sharla or you want to follow her on social media, she is at Sharla Peterson, and the last name is Peterson. And you can find her at IFBB Fit Chick on Wheels, and that's WHEELZ. If you'd like to find me, you can find me also on social media at HelenFritch_IFBB Pro. And you can also email me at helen@ageisirrelevant.com. As always, I greatly appreciate everyone. If you found this conversation inspirational, please share it. If you know someone who's going through a tough time with some difficult transitions, I think this would be an amazing podcast to share it with them. And tag us both, because we would both love to see you doing these great things. And once again, always too, as my loyal audience, regardless of what you're going through in life, always remember that age truly is irrelevant. And until next time, bye-bye.